Hi everyone, Heather here with astrologywithheather.com, and I am back with another weekly forecast. This one is for Monday, November 30th, all the way through to Sunday, December 6th of 2020. And this week we are entering into eclipse season. Right out the gate on Monday, we have a partial lunar eclipse occurring in the sign of Gemini at the full moon. And this is actually a weaker eclipse. However, these energies with the full moon and with the eclipses, especially with the eclipses highlighting the North Node in particular in the sign of Gemini, this is a time where something important is being illuminated in our lives that we need to understand in order to move in the right direction, in order to be guided by fate, in order to be guided into our destinies. However, with this particular full moon, with this particular eclipse, things might be a little bit more deceiving. We might not understand what's going on. There might be misinformation floating around all over the place, and it might be hard to get clarity. That's because this moon is forming a T-square with Neptune that will be carried out into next week and even into the next eclipse that'll happen on December 14th. But before we get into that, I just want to mention for those who are new to my channel, first off, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And even if you're like a regular watcher of these videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button. A lot of people on my analytics, I've noticed, kind of just find my videos by searching my name and the word astrology. It's much easier just to subscribe so you get those notifications, so you see it right in your feed. So definitely do that if you haven't already done so. And for those who are new to this channel, I always begin my videos with a general forecast where I discuss for about 5, maybe 10 minutes maximum, the energy overall for the week ahead. This is important to listen to. Don't skip it, because it's going to give you context for the more focused, specific reading that you're going to receive in the all signs forecast later on in this video. Speaking of which, when I do get to my forecast for all 12 signs, make sure you listen to your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign, because this is going to give you a more detailed, more holistic overview of the energy for the week ahead. Your rising sign will be the most predominant energy, your sun sign will be secondary, and your moon sign is also important to listen to, although this interpretation will be more internalized as opposed to externalized. And then finally, at the end of the video, I'm doing something new where I go over some of the energy that we'll be discussing in next week's forecast, so be sure to stick around for that if you're interested in knowing what's coming up the following week. And so moving on, or coming back to the general forecast for this week, the biggest energy is definitely this lunar eclipse. A couple of different things here. So this partial lunar eclipse in Gemini is going to be, so anytime you have a lunar eclipse or a full moon, for those who are not aware, this is when the sun and the moon are in opposition with one another. And this is kind of a point of coming back into balance. And so we've been focusing on the Sagittarian themes. We've been focusing on the bigger picture. We've been focusing on, what's fair, what's just, what's moral, what's ethical in our lives. We've been focusing on also integrating talents and gifts and situations and wisdom from the past into our current experience. But we kind of need to shift focus now. We have to kind of pull ourselves out of that, because there's something that we need to understand that really is involving our future, right? The South Node is looking to the past, the North Node is looking to the future. And so we can integrate these gifts, these wisdoms, these talents and things like that from the past, the wisdom we've gained through our experiences, into the future direction that we're moving into. And that's going to be more represented by the North Node energy, which is being highlighted by the full moon. And again, this is a partial lunar eclipse, and so although there will be fated, synchronistic, karmic occurrences where things just seem to kind of flow in the right direction, or people or situations show up that seem to carry an extra level of importance, that's a thing that happens with all eclipses. It's going to be weaker. It's not going to be as long lasting. This is probably one of the weaker eclipse energies in terms of the karmic implications, just because not only is it a lunar eclipse, which are considered to be a little bit weaker, although I beg to differ on that. I could tell you all sorts of crazy blood moon stories, lunar eclipse stories from my own life that kind of contradict that information. But Be that as it may, a partial lunar eclipse is considered to be one of the weakest types of eclipses, but that doesn't mean that this won't bring powerful change or a powerful highlighting of something that you really need to understand, or a situation that you really need to take hold of, an opportunity you need to move into. However, as I mentioned at the start of this video, Neptune is involved. There's going to be a lot of deception floating around. There's going to be a lot of confusion around which direction to take. We might think that the path has been illuminated, but there's something we're not seeing, or we might be misled, or we might be misleading ourselves, right, into thinking that this is what we should be doing because you have this sort of idealistic viewpoint of your future direction. And so that's very important to understand, because navigating this eclipse is going to take a certain level of self-awareness and a certain level of discernment, kind of like extra discernment this time around. And in addition to this doesn't just apply to what's going on a personal level. There's going to be a lot of deceiving misinformation floating around in the media, in social media land, just all over the place this week and really into the entire month of December. And I know that's nothing new. Considering, the current circumstances and just the way that the mainstream media operates. But there's going to be a lot of deceiving information that could even be pumped into the alternative media outlets, that could be just floating around all over the place over the next few weeks, where it's going to be very confusing to understand what's really going on. We've already been experiencing this. The nodes have already been squaring Neptune for, a few weeks now, and it's only going to be amplifying this energy. So I'm saying this to kind of give you a little bit of warning, right? So that way you know that if something comes up and you hear it and the news or the information is alarming to you, or it doesn't seem quite right, or whatever it is, that you're not getting the whole story, or you're very much just being directly lied to. And that's a big thing already with the media. That's a big thing already all over the place. And the same thing can be said in your personal life. So if it doesn't feel right, if it feels kind of strange, if it feels kind of ominous, if it feels like you're missing something, but it's really great and it's like this really great opportunity and you want to take advantage of it, trust your gut and trust your intuition with this, because there might be something that you're not seeing clearly just yet. And when it comes up, it's going to throw your plans off. It's going to throw your direction off, or you're going to have to kind of rectify the situation in some way. And so I say that not to scare people and be like, this is a bad week or whatever, because it's not necessarily. But I just want you to know that there's something you might not be seeing, so you can kind of mentally prepare for that there might be something that's revealed that might cause a bit of disillusionment. However, this is going to illuminate an important path, an important direction, an important opportunity that you need to understand. And so definitely this is a good week for personal revelation, for kind of societal revelation. Something is going to be revealed this week. There is a key piece of information coming in this week that's going to be very important in aligning you with your destiny. Okay, so let's get into the forecast for all 12 signs. But before we do, I have a very quick announcement that I'm hoping you'll stick with me for, because it's something very exciting for me. Tonight, my Cosmic Community membership site is launching just before midnight in my time zone. I know it's kind of a strange time, but I'm using Electional Astrology. And for those of you who are in Europe or the UK, it'll be ready for you first thing in the morning. And this is a membership site where I'm offering all sorts of things. First off, it's a community, right? So you can connect with like-minded people who are very passionate about astrology. I'm also doing all sorts of exclusive content that I'm creating for you. You're going to get my 2021 astrology forecast for each of the signs. I've created a 20 to 30 minute video for each sign that's available exclusively for Cosmic Community members. Each month we're doing a live new moon gathering, goal setting, and lunar month ahead forecast together, so you can plan appropriately based on the energies of the moon for success for the month ahead. I'm doing monthly Q&A. I'm doing quarterly webinars webinars on different topics in astrology that will be available exclusively for Cosmic Community members for the first 90 days before anyone else can access them. I'm doing all sorts of things here, and I'm so excited to be able to create content more freely, more openly, because there are just certain things that either don't do well on YouTube, and I know this, that have more depth, have more meaning, where I can really get into things that I couldn't get into like on this platform. And also there are certain things that I want to talk about, including medical astrology, that, you know, are very likely to get censored in this day and age. And so this is a place where I can keep in contact with you, where I can share openly and freely all sorts of important information that I've been wanting to share with you, and where we can connect more personally, which is something I've really wanted to like create a smaller community so I can actually respond to questions and things like that, as opposed to, you know, when there's like 20, 25, 30,000 people watching a video. So I'm so excited for this. So check out the link down in the description below. There's going to be a 10% off coupon code, welcome10, for anybody who enrolls in the first few days, so until December 7th. And those 2021 forecasts will be released on December 8th, so you'll have those right away as soon as they're released. And so, yeah, so, you know, keep an eye on your inbox, keep an eye on your social media, because I'll be announcing when enrollment opens. And so that's my announcement. So I'm going to move into the forecast for all 12 signs, beginning with the sign of Aries. And I do hope that I'll see some of you in my cosmic community later this week, later this month, or whenever it is that you decide that you want to join in. Okay, so for Aries and for Aries Rising, there's something that's being revealed to you that's really important involving your community, your relationship with extended family or your siblings, which could very well come up this week, especially for those of you who are living more in the United States, where we just had Thanksgiving and all of that. This is also a time in particular for Aries where important information is being revealed that's contrary to your current mindset or your current belief systems. And this is something that's really important to take notice of, because this is something that you're going to be moving into, and this is a thread that you're going to be following for quite some time, even if you don't fully understand it right now. There is kind of a deceiving energy though. So this actually, because this is in the areas that involve communication, that involve education, that involve your mind and your mindset, or the way that you communicate, there's definitely the potential for some deception to be involved in this energy, including or very specifically related to information that you are either sharing or receiving this week. And so make sure that you're not spreading misinformation or disinformation. Make sure that you're not intentionally or unintentionally lying to somebody in order to kind of promote an agenda or move forward with a certain plan of action or something along those lines, because that will come back to bite you later on in the month. But it could also be that, you know, you are on the receiving end of some information this week that's very powerful, that's very illuminating, that takes you in a completely new direction. But it also feels a little off or a little confusing, or like something is amiss or something is missing. If that's the case, pay attention to that feeling, but also just know that whatever is being illuminated is a path that you need to be moving into. It is something that you need to pay attention to. However, that doesn't mean that you're seeing the whole picture right away. So kind of sit with it, because this thread will continue to develop throughout the entire month of December. Okay, and for Taurus and for Taurus rising. So for Taurus, there is potentially something that's being illuminated for you this week involving your financial situation, the way that you earn income, the way that you save your money, the way that you use your resources, the way that you budget and plan and prepare for the future. There's a need now to focus on your own personal income and your own personal spending. There's some sort of fated twist or turn or message coming in this week around your finances. There could be some confusion around financial situations involving groups of people, or involving charities or sort of altruistic or humanitarian types of pursuits, or a group or a club or an organization that you're a part of that you want to move forward with, but you're not quite sure, or there's some sort of uncertainty or a lack of clarity around those circumstances. This could also be very straightforward. This could be that there's like a friend or somebody in your social network who's lying to you about financial circumstances or financial issues. This could be that they're lying to you to save face, or this could be that they're lying to you to manipulate you into investing into something. So just kind of pay close attention to that energy. And if something feels off or an offer feels too good to be true, it probably is. There could be a major purchase coming up for you this week. However, just know that you need to really read the fine print, really pay attention to the details, and there's something that might be overshadowed that you're not quite seeing just yet. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't pursue or consider or take advantage of an opportunity that comes up that feels really important, that feels synchronistic, that feels fated. Just know that there's likely something else that's going to be revealed around this financial circumstance later on in the month. Okay, and then for Gemini and for Gemini Rising. So for Geminis, this is happening in your sign. So you are being illuminated. You are being highlighted. This is a need for you to come back into balance by focusing on you, by being a little bit selfish. This is a time where you've been focusing earlier this month on the needs, wants, desires of other people, of your relationships. You've been focusing on nurturing and growing your relationships and addressing any issues that are coming up in relationships and letting go of old patterns in relationships that no longer serve you. Now's the time to kind of move past that and focus a little bit on you. What do you need? What do you want? What do you desire? What are your goals and plans? What direction are you moving into? Something important can be actually illuminated or highlighted involving your own personal direction or orientation in life and the way things are going to be headed into the future, because things are likely to change pretty dramatically in 2021 for a lot of you Geminis. Especially, and this could especially be highlighting maybe even a career opportunity or a personal opportunity tied to your career path. Just know that there is a level of uncertainty, there is a level of confusion, there's something that you're not seeing quite so clearly, especially coming from people in positions of authority who could be manipulating you or lying to you in some way. Or, in relationship to the way that you're viewing what's going on in your career path, or these new opportunities, or maybe this new recognition that you're getting. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't take a hold of opportunities. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't contemplate these things or follow these threads. However, it's just important that you note that things are not always exactly what they seem. And so you might have to make some adjustments, or something might be revealed to you that changes things up a little bit more so into the future. It could even be that a partner is deceiving you in some way, because this is on your ascendant and descendant axis, especially anywhere really between, this is going to span a lot of Gemini, because I'm going to include the nodes in this in the square to Neptune. So this is going to be really anywhere from 3 degrees to like 22 degrees, 23 degrees even. So 3 to 23 degrees, 20-degree orb here, where you're going to be feeling this the most, and you need to pay particular attention to what's coming up and just be very, very discerning. Geminis are smart. Geminis are clever. Geminis are very easily able to read and adapt to like social situations. You got to be quick with your mind, but not quick to jump into something necessarily if it doesn't feel right. Okay, and then for Cancer and for Cancer Rising. So for Cancers, this full moon is occurring in your 11th house. So there's been a little bit of busyness so far this month with the sun moving into Sagittarius, hitting your south node. You've been busy, probably with a lot of just kind of day-to-day mundane tasks and concerns. The 6th house is the house of everyday activities that you do in order to sustain and maintain your existence on this planet. So day-to-day work routines, day-to-day general habits, day-to-day health habits, like eating habits, those types of things can all fall under that 6th house realm. And those types of mundane activities might have been taking center stage, or might have been demanding more attention for the past couple of weeks. Also, with the South Node there, it's about letting go of bad habits and routines and day-to-day activities that are really holding you back from pursuing what you need to be pursuing in this lifetime. But this is actually going to be more of an introspective, internalized sort of full moon, where you're going to be focusing on your spiritual well-being. You're going to be moving on a whole new path when it comes to your subjective sense of reality, your creative types of pursuits. This would be a great full moon eclipse for somebody who's really into creative writing. Even with that Neptune square, that actually helps the energy quite a bit. So especially in the house of publishing. So if that's something that's applicable to you, now's the time to take hold, or you might get a really new, exciting inspiration that comes about in a very synchronistic or strange way, or it comes through your dreams or through a meditation, something along those lines. This is a time where you could explore altered states of consciousness. I don't necessarily recommend doing it through drugs or alcohol because that Neptune square, but through things that you can do without altering your body with drugs and things like that. So like meditation, dream work, visualization types of techniques, that type of thing. Those can all be actually really, really fruitful for Geminis right now. There could be some, for you, it's not quite as much of a deceptive energy. There could be just some deception going on though, maybe in your workplace with your coworkers, or confusion around your health, or maybe there's somebody that you're caring for who's maybe taking advantage of you or deceiving you in some way, or somebody who's caring for you that maybe you're taking advantage of or deceiving in some way or hiding something from. So you want to kind of keep that in mind too. But this is the time to explore the woo-woo. This is the time to explore the weird. That's going to be the best way to utilize this energy of the eclipse of this full moon for Cancers. Okay, and then for Leo. So for Leo, this is happening in your 11th house. So something's going to be revealed to you this week involving group associations, involving friendships. Maybe you'll get an important message from a friend or from a group of people that you feel deeply connected to, or maybe this is like your soul group, or you have a new connection come in that's like illuminated or highlighted in some way, and it feels really good. It feels really powerful. It feels like these are your people. It could also be that you just need to kind of shift your focus. You've been focusing on your creative passions, your creative pursuits, maybe focusing more on your children and that type of energy for those of you who, have children. And now you need to shift into focusing on having some adult time, having some time with your friends, having some social interaction this week. If that's the case, that's completely okay, and I think that's a great way to utilize this energy. But there could also be, if there are communications coming in from a group or involving a group, if there are new relationships coming in this week, just know that looks can be deceiving and the messages you're receiving could be deceiving. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. However, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't pursue new friendships. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't pursue new group associations. That doesn't mean you shouldn't pursue socializing, because this is actually going to benefit you more so than a lot of the other signs in terms of your relationships. It's going to throw you on a whole new path when it comes to not just who you relate to, but how you relate to them. So this is important, but there's something you're not seeing quite so clearly yet, that maybe it's your own fear, maybe it's your own judgment, maybe it's your own past trauma or past difficulties involving social situations that are coming up for you. But it's like a blockage or a lack of clarity or something that's clouding your judgment when it comes to these friendships and group associations this week. So again, just be aware of this because it's going to kind of reveal itself as the month goes on. Okay. And then for Virgo. So for Virgo and for Virgo Rising, this energy is happening in your 10th and in your 4th house. This is a really important time for you career-wise, where something's going to be illuminated, maybe where you're going to be illuminated. This could be you getting some sort of recognition out in the public sphere for hard work that you've put in the past, and maybe even a new opportunity, because this is the North Node. Maybe there's a new opportunity coming in for you with your career, with your public reputation, or maybe an opportunity that comes from somebody in a position of power and authority, or recognition that comes from somebody in a position of authority within your field. This is actually potentially a wonderful opportunity for you to collaborate in business or to collaborate in your career with somebody who has an authority or somebody who has a lot of power. However, although this will benefit your growth career-wise, there's something that you're not seeing about this connection or collaboration. I wouldn't sign any solid commitment or paperwork or anything like that around a collaboration or around a business partnership this week. I would wait to see how it plays out and pay very close attention to your intuition. There's something that you're not seeing. This person isn't being forthright with you, or this person is intentionally maybe deceiving you in some way, or unintentionally, they might just be leaving out important details that you don't really know about. And you might be doing that too, intentionally or unintentionally, in your interactions and in your partnerships this week, especially work-related partnerships. Again, doesn't mean that you shouldn't follow this thread. There's an opportunity here, but just know that the clarity around this is going to come with time, and there might be some stuff that you didn't really know about that might come up that you might have to sort of deal with or rectify in order to get to that opportunity in the future. Okay, and then for Libras, and I apologize, I'm drinking so much tea. I'm just getting my voice back and it's not all the way there. But anyway, so for Libras, this full moon is actually really great for Libras in particular because this full moon eclipse is actually going to be in your 9th house, which is the house of adventure. It's the house of perspective. It's the house of optimism and opportunity. It's one of the more joyful houses. And it's actually going to be forming a trine and a sextile with your ascendant and descendant. And so this is a powerful energy that's going to benefit you very personally. And this could be an opportunity to share something, to share really important information that you've learned through your hard work and study and experience out in the public sphere that could come up for you this week. This could be an opportunity for a new educational pursuit that could come up for you this week. This could be an opportunity for travel or connection to somebody in a foreign land. Or this could just be all of a sudden your mindset shifts and you get a newfound perspective on everything that you are experiencing. And you think that you know it all. You think that you've found the answer, right? When it comes to your philosophical beliefs, your ideologies, your beliefs that frame this reality and give you your sense of perspective. However, there's something here that you're not quite seeing, especially as this relates or as this is applicable to your day-to-day experience. It's kind of like, okay, you have this big picture viewpoint. You have all these wonderful ideologies. But is this practical, and how can you integrate this into your daily life? Like, is this something that is actually workable in real life? That's kind of the question here. It could also be that there's some information being revealed to you that involves your work or your health, and you're not quite getting the clarity that you're looking for in this area, or somebody is intentionally deceiving you in your workplace. Or it could just be some confusion or some fuzziness, you know. It could also be that there's an opportunity that comes up for you involving like a speaking position or a teaching position or travel or something, you know, really great where you get to help share your knowledge with others. But like on a day-to-day level, it's like, do you actually have the ability to do this? Does this fit in your schedule? You might think it does, and you might overly sort of obligate yourself to something only to realize that you're going to have to let go of a lot in order to make that happen. So that's what's going on for Libra, but definitely a time where you're going to be feeling more optimistic. Definitely the opportunities, you should follow that thread. They're important. It's something that you need to take hold of. Just be aware that there's something else that you're not quite seeing just yet. Okay, and for Scorpio and for Scorpio Rising, this energy is actually occurring in your money houses. So you're going to be having an eclipse in your 8th house, which is the house of joint finances through marriage. It's the house of debt, other people's money, investments, inheritance. It's the house involving taxes. It's the house involving where you go to get loans, insurance, all of these things. And so there's something that's going to be revealed to you potentially in this area. It could be that your partner gets a new financial opportunity that comes up. And if that is the case, then, just know that you're not seeing the whole picture just yet. And things are likely to change, or maybe you're being intentionally deceived by your partner for some of you, but it's not going to be everything that you think it is. Something is being clouded, or there's a lack of clarity around the opportunity. The same thing goes for an investment opportunity or an opportunity to take out a loan of some kind. These things are, they can happen, and it's definitely something to pay attention to, but you really need to read the fine print. You really need to kind of get in there and make sure that you are 110% clear about what the offer is, what the terms and conditions are before you move forward, because there's going to be either intentional deception or there's a lack of clarity that comes from within. around these types of opportunities or around these types of energies this week involving finances on all sides, though, like finances in general, this could be applicable for. The other thing too is that with this full moon energy in the eighth house is the house of fear and anxiety, and it's the house of deep psychological issues and patterns and obsessions and compulsions and things that we hold on to, like addictions that, maybe don't serve us. And those things could come up for Scorpios in a big way around the time of the full moon, around the time of the eclipse on the 30th. Especially, I would say, addictions to drugs or alcohol or substances or to people or situations that have certain power dynamics. This is something that could come up. So if that is the case, pay attention, because this is something that you're going to have to work through and you're going to have to learn to understand and control a lot more clearly. You might not have as much willpower around these types of things right now and into this month. And so you want to make sure that you're being mindful of those types of energies. So if you are somebody who has an addictive personality, if you are somebody who's dealt with addiction, if you are somebody who obsesses over things, if you are somebody who's had past trauma, these things are coming up for you to heal, but you don't quite understand why it's coming up or how to work with the energy just yet. But that's okay. This is going to bring a powerful opportunity for healing on a lot of different levels for Scorpio. For Sagittarius and for Sagittarius Rising, this energy is causing you to have to focus on your relationships. There's been a lot of energy around focusing on you. It's been all about me, Sag. Not necessarily, because, the South Node's there too, but there's definitely a lot of energy that was highlighting you, what you want, what you need, what you desire, maybe giving you some new opportunities, kind of illuminating your path, your purpose, new goals, new direction, and also illuminating what you need to take in terms of the wisdom from your past to kind of move forward into the future, into what it is that you want, need, and desire for yourself. Now's the time to focus on your partner's needs, your partner's expectations, your partner's well-being. This is a time to focus on forming new relationships and new partnerships. And new partnerships might come in this week, business or friendship or romantic or otherwise, that feel very synchronistic, that feel very fated, that feel very important. However, you're not seeing these things quite so clearly. There could also be new connections or changes in your relationships with family members specifically this week. And if that is the case, you're not getting a clear picture. This is going to be cloudy communication with family members specifically, or cloudy communication involving contracts within the home. So you need to kind of understand that. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't reach out and spend time with your family. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't form new connections. That doesn't mean that the relationships that come in that are new, or the partnerships that you're forming, are bad. It just means that there's something you're not seeing quite so clearly. And in your current partnerships, there's something that you need to move into together, especially if you're married. Like, there's something that you need to move into together with your spouse, kind of as one unit. However, you're not seeing the whole picture quite so clearly, or they're not seeing the whole picture quite so clearly, and there's likely to be some miscommunication about where you're headed. So you want to make sure that you're very specific and that you're on the same page with this. Okay, and then for Capricorn and for Capricorn Rising, this full moon lunar eclipse energy is happening in your 6th house, which is the house of health, work, and daily routines. So you've been kind of hiding out a little bit for the first couple of weeks of, Sun and Sag, doing your introspective work, doing your inner work, going and kind of pulling yourself out of the limelight, pulling yourself out of the world, wanting to rest and wanting to find a little bit more relaxation or kind of isolation from, the busyness of every single day life. Well, this is going to kind of pull you back into the busyness of daily life, of the physical reality. You might have some work-related pursuits or endeavors that demand your attention this week, and you might have to jump in and pursue some new things when it comes to your work, especially important work-related projects. This could also be, something new that's happening for you in your work, maybe a new job opportunity, maybe new coworkers, maybe new employees if you're somebody who is in a position of power or who owns their own business. Maybe this is you rearranging and thinking about your schedule and your your day-to-day when it comes to the holiday season and what that's going to look like. There could be something illuminated for you that you have to pay attention to when it comes to your physical health, and that could come in the form of like a message from somebody else or from a doctor. Just know that you're not getting the whole picture, and it could even be that you already know that. It's like the information or the test results or whatever it is that comes in, it's like, what is this? This is confusing. Or the doctor's like, I don't know what this is, like that kind of thing. Just know that if it is the case that it's likely to get resolved, especially after this month or later on in this month, there's just a lack of clarity now, and that story is going to continue to unfold over the next few weeks. So this isn't the be all end all of it. And yeah, so this is going to be more of a busy week. There could also be miscommunications with coworkers or employees where you think you're going in the same direction, but they're not quite on the same page, or you're intentionally being deceived by these people. So just know that. There could also be a new opportunity involving like an office space or a workspace. But again, don't sign contracts around new employees. Don't sign contracts around work. Don't sign contracts around workspaces. If you can avoid it this week, definitely take a hold of these opportunities and follow that thread. But there's something that you have to be very discerning about that you're not seeing clearly that, again, will reveal itself later on. So if you can wait, I would recommend waiting until you have that full, clear picture. Okay, so for Aquarius and for Aquarius Rising, this energy is happening in your 5th house, which is a fun house. So the 5th house is the house of joy. It's the house of romance. It's the house of play. It's the house of passion. It's where you go to have fun. And so you've been focusing a lot on social interactions, social activities, social causes this month. And now is a time for you to go in and explore the things that bring you joy, to explore your creative passions. There could be a new opportunity for you to do something really creative that you're really excited about or really passionate about. And maybe you think that this is going to make you money. There's going to be some confusion around that. So just kind of pay attention to what's going on. Don't completely neglect the opportunity. This is a thread that you need to follow. However, just know that what's being illuminated isn't the whole picture, and the whole picture is going to be revealed throughout the month, especially as it relates to your finances. It could even be that you want to just funnel some money into something that you're really passionate about, that you want to do behind the scenes, like a hobby and interest, something like that. You're not intending to make money from it, but maybe the money is not really there, or this is going to do something to your financial situation that you're not quite clear on just yet. So again, definitely look at those doors that are opening, pay attention, follow those threads, but don't fully invest if you can avoid it, because there's something that there's a lack of clarity there. There's something that you can't see quite yet. This could also be you needing to focus more of your energy and attention on your children if you have any. And there could be maybe even an expenditure that you need. Maybe it's just like holiday gifts or something like that, something that simple. But there's like an expense potentially involving your children that could come up. And again, you're not seeing things quite so clearly. It could feel really exciting and it's like, yes, I'm going to do this for my kids. But again, there's not a full picture here. It's definitely something to follow. It's definitely something to pay attention to. If you have to grab that opportunity and you know it's right, then that's okay. But there is that energy here of deception and an offer that might be a little too good to be true. Okay, and Pisces. Last but not least, this energy is happening with the full moon, the partial lunar eclipse in your 4th house, which is the house of home, family, property, real estate, ancestry. There's something here that you're being kind of pulled into. You've been focusing a little bit more at the start of this month, or the last couple of weeks at least. I shouldn't say this month because Gregorian month, all of that, but at least for the last couple of weeks, you've been focusing a little bit more on what's going on externally, on your career, on your public reputation, on things that are going on in the external reality. And now is a time for you to kind of shift your focus on developing what you want to develop, what you need to develop, what's coming up for you, what you're feeling pulled toward when it comes to your home environment, when it comes to your family relationships, when it comes to your property. It could even be that you feel like you want to make a move or a big change to your home environment. If that's the case, that's okay. Just know that there's something that needs to be revealed still. There's something that you're not seeing clearly. Something's being illuminated this week. It's going to feel like, oh, it's opening and I can see it now and it's happening and it's wonderful. However, there's it could be that you're kind of seeing it through these rose-colored glasses. You're seeing what you want to see with this situation, and you're not seeing it for what it fully and truly is. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. That doesn't mean that this isn't going to be a positive or a good opportunity for you. But you want to make sure that you're really reading the fine print. You want to make sure that you're being very discerning. You want to make sure that if you can, you're waiting to get that full clarity, especially if something feels off, or you're feeling nervous or not quite right about something. This could also be family situations too coming up this week, where you're being kind of like pulled in a new direction when it comes to your family, but you're not quite seeing the situation for what it is, or you're not seeing it quite so clearly. And so it could be something along the lines of, you know, an opportunity to go see. I could literally be your family like deceiving you, or somebody in your family giving you bad information, or you viewing someone in one way but they're actually another way, or you actually deceiving somebody in your family unintentionally, even because you're not being clear about something. So those are all things to kind of pay attention to this week. But there is an opportunity, there is something being illuminated. It could even be something involving your ancestry that you didn't know before, and now you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that this was my heritage, or I didn't realize this about my grandparents, or whatever it is. But again, even if that's the revelatory information that's coming in, you're not seeing the whole picture just yet. And so allow that to unfold over the course of the month, because it will, and you'll get a better sense of what's going on. You'll get a better sense of clarity. Okay. And so that is my forecast for all 12 zodiac signs. So let's get into the overview for next week. Next week, there's going to be a lot of activation of what I was just talking about. It's going to actually become much stronger. And after this point, that's really where things are going to start to be revealed much more fully, completely, and clearly over the next few weeks. But the sun is going to conjunct the nodes next week and square Neptune. This is actually going to bring a further manifestation of these eclipse energies, where it's almost like a stronger manifestation. It's like something was revealed to us this week, and next week it starts to unfold more physically in our reality. It becomes more concrete, but there's still a lack of clarity or an ominous energy around what it is that we're being told, or the information that we're receiving, or the information that we're giving even. And so that's something to pay attention to. The other thing is that Mercury is actually going to be in Sagittarius. It's moving into Sagittarius this week, and it'll be squaring Neptune and beginning to square the north and south node as well. And so again, there's a lot of confusion around information. Don't believe everything you hear, especially in the media. There's going to be some weird stuff, and it's not going to be true. And that's important to know. And on a personal level, there's going to be some weird information that's coming out in your personal life. And not all of that is true. And sometimes it's going to be a straight up lie. And sometimes it's going to be something that maybe you're just not ready to see clearly, or you're not capable of seeing clearly just yet. Again, it doesn't mean that everything is bad. It just means that there's missing information or misinformation involved. So that's going to continue into next week, except we're actually going to start seeing like some tangible results or some physical manifestation of the energies that are revealed to us this week. And so that is my forecast for next week, December 7th through the 13th. And if you want to learn more about the energies that are happening right now and what's coming up, I have a couple of videos for you up here, and I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.